Welcome, friends. I heard all of us are out of Zetas, and so this is actually a requested video by our members. Each week, our members are able to request a video. Whichever one wins the poll is the one that we make for the following week. And so this is what you guys chose for last week, those of you that are our members. So teams that have the least amount of Zetas to put into the team, so that way we can have some viable teams without over-investing. Just for the simple reason of, we're all out of Zetas. I'm like down so many Zetas. I've got a Zeta order page, and this is my Zeta order page. I've got probably a solid 10 characters to add to this still that I just haven't gotten around to adding. Like, I am always out of Zetas, and with these Lightspeed bundles, set me back so far when it came to Zetas. So, you'll also notice that as I go through this list, I have a lot of these leveled, and that's because I'm always out of Zetas, meaning that I'm always trying to farm teams that have little to no Zetas as much as possible. Obviously, you will see Zetas on certain characters. This is not about, a character that has 0 Zetas on them, because those are few and far between. This is about teams that become viable without a Zeta on them. So first up, we have one of the absolute most cracked teams in the game. Excuse me, sorry. That was weird. Absolutely one of the most cracked teams in the game. I've been using this since Mara Jade came out. I was still under level 85 when that happened, and I've been using Mara Jade ever since. Emperor Palpatine and Mara Jade, and then any other Empire. Thrawn works really great right here, but you technically don't need any of these Zetas to get this going. All you need are these two characters and them leveled up. It's actually when I was talking to my friends when they were first starting to get to like level 85 and starting Grand Arena, I was like, just get yourself an Emperor Palpatine and Mara Jade and mod Mara Jade well. This team right here just stomps other teams. As long as Mara Jade takes first turn, you could have her at gear 9, and it honestly wouldn't matter. If you have a high speed Thrawn, you can just pass the turn to Mara Jade and do the same thing. Solid team, doesn't require any Zetas. Basically, Emperor Palpatine feeds turn meters on debuffs. Mara Jade feeds a ton of debuffs to the enemy team, including stagger, which gets rid of all their turn meter, and you just rinse and repeat, and you basically just opponents never take a turn. This was my Geo counter back in the day. This was my Bossk counter back in the day. It works for so many things. So no Zetas there. You can add more, obviously. This is a newer one, Gar Suckson Imperial Super Commando. Since they reworked them, they actually don't require any Zetas to pull off. You can take down gas with this. Anything that doesn't have a unavoidable daze, you can take down with this, basically. Super nice, and you can plug it into a lot of other teams, to be honest. So solid duo, and the fact that you get 2 people and can take down teams is great. We got another one, which is Iden Versio. I do have this under the no Zeta section, because I have used Iden Versio without her Zeta, and I've still gotten holds. Then again, that was Bronzium and Carbonite when I was doing that. When I had the time, I put the first Zeta on. I highly suggest the first Zeta. The first Zeta that she has is, the only Zeta that she has, is this. So make sure you're not using any non-droid Imperial Troopers and anyone with a leader tag with her, obviously. But whenever she dies, she revives at 100% health and protection, which basically means someone has to throw something like a gas against this team, or they have to bleed a whole bunch of banners, because she takes first turn, and even at gear 8 with, the Zeta, they could focus her down. She just comes right back. So they have to kill all of her buddies. And so, fantastic team for low viability. Also great for the raid right now. I mean, that might not be viable if you're watching this, a year from now, but great for the raid right now. Iden Versio is one of my favorite characters in the raid. Not saying I love the raid, but there you go. And like gear 12 troopers, you can get super easy with your raid 1 currency. So just throw some stuff with her. This is my pet team. We've been talking about this a lot. This Zori team is just amazing, and honestly a lot of people are putting the Zetas on Zori, which is fantastic, but technically to get this team to work, you don't actually need any Zetas except for Finn Zeta, because Zori and the rest of the team are what feeds the overall exposes to your team. And so exposes are great by themselves, but then his leader Zeta is what gives you, if you damage someone with exposed, they lose turn meter and you gain turn meter. And so that's what allows that turn meter train to start rolling. And so 1 Zeta, you instantly have a team right there. If you want to put another Zeta on here to make it really good, or another 2, get both of Zoris. The rest are like important, but like I'm never going to suggest a team that you can't put more Zetas on to be better. Like I'm not going to suggest a team that just absolutely sucks later on. That's why I have a couple honorable mentions at the end, because I'm like, you know. But this is all you need is just the Finn Zeta to get this popping. Geonosians, this is one we all have lying around most likely. If you're new, this is something that's great to have lying around for cleanups. It's a sometimes difficult team early on, and it's also required to get into a good guild, basically. So the only one that you actually need is the unique Queen's Will. Like Arnold didn't have this leader for years and years and years and was just fine, and he is one of the top players. All you need is this Queen's Will, so you start out with a pre-taunting tank, and just right there you have the entirety of your Geonosians ready to go. That's all you need to get it going. Super, super easy team to get going. This one, another team that you could add more Zetas and make it just bangerific, but only one you need, Captain Rex. Honestly, even with I could put this in the no Zeta section, because even with Captain Rex with no Zeta, Captain Rex is what makes this pop, and he actually starts making it pop at this a tier, which is not a Zeta, because whenever any other Pheonix ally uses special ability, Rex assists, dealing 60% less damage. Keep in mind, replace Rex with whenever a Pheonix ally uses special ability, whoever this character is assists. Because this is shared between all of the other Pheonix characters. And so technically you can use him without a Zeta, but his Zeta just, I mean, look at the block of text that is. Like, it does a ton for the team. And of course the Omicron even makes it better. But that's all you really need to get your Pheonix popping, is that Zeta. But honestly, you could throw this in with no Zeta and still do some work. I actually was talking to someone today about that. This is another one that's kind of, I could throw it in the no Zetas because it'll still pop off and do things with no Zetas. Like Mando doesn't need a Zeta to get his insta-kill. And so this team is great. But the reason I put it in the 1 Zeta section is because this leader ability is super helpful for banner recovery and giving it to kill a lot of teams. And so, you know, whenever they suffer or resist a debuff. So basically all bounty hunters on their basic have some kind of debuff that they're hitting. And so if they can successfully put the debuff, or they don't successfully put the debuff on them, regardless, everyone gets 5% health and protection, which means if you use his mass swarm, that's 25% if no one attacks twice. So solid team with just 1 Zeta. Getting these guys speeds up is amazing, but solid team with 1 Zeta. You can add more Zetas as you go, obviously. If you want a good video for Zeta order, Arnold has a spreadsheet that's really good on his videos about Zetas. So if you just go to any of his like ranking Zetas videos, he has a spreadsheet on there that tells you like the priority to get its Zetas. I might like switch around some of the priorities myself, but for the most part, super, super accurate, and it's what I've used a lot in the past. General Grievous is another one. You could throw any 4 droids in this section. They could be Gear 7 for all I care. All you need is Metalloid Monstrosity. Whenever a droid or Separatist ally is defeated, Grievous dispels all debuffs from himself, resets all cooldowns, and gains a bonus turn. Every time he's gaining a turn, he's siphoning from his allies, ramping his damage, and you can just keep dealing damage to the team. So it's great for, you know, just siphoning banners early on. You can make this team fully good with some solid droids with them. But like, honestly, just to get this team started, you could get it just 1 Zeta and be fine. To get like the full viability of the team, you obviously need Grievous's 2nd Zeta, just because that one gives you the turn meter train that he uses. But if you're just looking for a solid team to throw on defense or offense, to just throw a wrench in people's plans, and you just have 1 Zeta lying around, great team to just throw together with whatever droids you happen to have with you. This is one that requires a singular Zeta as well, but it also requires an Omicron. This one, Qui Gon, it's literally just Qui Gon and Anakin. You don't need any other Zetas. This Zeta is for only if he's under Padme lead. No other part of this is needed besides his Zeta. And the important part is his Omicron. This will slap teams hard. Important side note, if you don't have a bunch of high Jedi to put with this, or if you do have a bunch of high Jedi to put with this, make sure they're all Galactic Republic. If you want this team to slap, you need them to be Galactic Republic. Whenever another ally falls below 50% health or is defeated, takes a bonus turn, which is great, because that means he can slap some people after Qui-Gon dies. That's kind of the point of this team. But his next attack deals double damage if all allies were Galactic Republic at the start of the battle. So make sure that you have Galactic Republic Jedi with this team, even if it has to be something like this, just to fill it out if you're putting on defense. Or you can just run these two if you're on offense. Although I like to run the full team just so that way Anakin has less of a chance of getting stunned if I'm going up against a team with a stun. But solid team, just one Zeta. And then we don't want to neglect our solos. We've been talking about this a lot, but don't neglect your solos. Savage only needs one Zeta, one Omicron. Most likely you guys probably have more Omicrons than Zetas at this point. That's what I'm running into. Darth Vader only needs his Merciless Massacre. He could use more. Of course, he could always use more. But Merciless Massacre is the only one that he really needs to start slapping people. Because he gets a bonus turn for each enemy, basically. This is a lot of text to say. He gets, for 5 enemies, he gets 5 turns in a row, which is awesome. Make sure you mod him well, though, because anytime you're doing a solo or anything like that, most of these, low Zeta teams, you want to mod them really well. So make sure you're using swago.gg. If you need help with mods, go check out some of my other videos. I got a playlist for mods. Go check out the 2 videos in there. They'll help a ton. I'll be adding some more soon. Kylo Ren, another 1 Zeta solo. Solos, Old Republic, solos, Ewoks. A lot of teams that people have lying around, Rolo, Rebel Officer Leia Organa, he solos them. Wampa solos a ton. He can solo General Grievous. He can solo, Iden Versio. He can solo, if you're lucky and they have the right lineup. Sith Eternal on defense, he can solo. Savage can take down CLS, can take down Grievous. So all of these are great ones for just a single relic. Now we're getting to the little bit more expensive of the 2 Zetas. We only got a couple of these, but the first one's going to be this Imperial Trooper team. Obviously, you can kind of fill in these 2 spots with anyone. These are who most people use, though, because they're just solid, really good for keeping the turn meter train going. But all you need is the Veers unique. So basically this allows you to, whenever you kill someone, you get 50% turn meter back, which is very important for keeping the turn meter train looping over and over again. And then you need Piet's Emperor's Trap. This is also a team that could work at Gear 8 if you have them modded well, which is what I used them as for a long time. But anytime they take a turn or attack out of turn, they get 6% offense and potency until one of the enemies takes a turn. And so that will continue to ramp up as you're running a turn meter train. And so you'll get, 30 stacks of this, and that's, you're dealing 180% increased offense with every single hit. And when Dark Trooper hits 4 times with his basic, it's insane. And so you only need those 2 Zetas. The other Zeta on Piet's great. The other, the Zeta on Dark Trooper's great. But those are the only 2 that you need to start this. And just keep it going in circles around another team. This one right here does require another Omicron. Obviously, Talon's Omicron's on here as well. Talon doesn't need her Omicron for this. Honestly, you could throw Treya with any Sith at all with Darth Nihilus, and you're good, basically. I just kind of threw a random team together right here. Darth Treya, I do suggest both of her Zetas. You don't technically need both of her Zetas, but I do suggest them because they're both great. So both of Treya's Zetas and the Omicron will get you a really solid team right here. I use this with my Savage to take down JML. It's a super solid team for little to no, increase. I mean, that's a Gear 12 Nihilus being able to help take out a JML. That's fantastic. This next one, yes, there are a ton of Zetas on this team. There's 2 on Shaak T, 2 on Fives, 1 on Rex, 1 on Arc, 1 on Echo. There's a lot of Zetas on this team. But honestly, this team slaps. If you just have Shaak T's leader Zeta And 5s, let me check the name of it, but it's, yeah. So basically, whenever another ally dies, so tactical awareness, whenever another ally dies, they instead have 5s die, and clone trooper allies gain his max health, max protection, speed, and offense stats in addition to their own until the end of the battle. And so it's like if they piss off the team at all and they kill one of them, all of a sudden the entire team is supercharged and it just gets insane quickly. So honestly, you could put this in the 1 Zeta category and just do 5s, but Shaak T, the reason I say Shaak T is because it's banner recovery. Add clone troopers, allies recover 5% health and protection when they attack at a turn. She has a mass assist. She has an assist where they assist twice. 5s has people assist. Echo assists off of every person using a basic ability. So tons of assists, tons of recovery for banners. So 5s unique, and Shaak T's leader is all you need to get this team to pop off. So we're now into our honorable mention categories, where it's 3 Zetas or more, or teams that I'm not too sure about, things that I've heard about but I don't want to tell you to invest unless I knew more. This is just any Jedi with Jolee and his Zeta can just be a good team, honestly. Because if you have a solid Jolee with his Zeta, where is it? Here we go. Nope. Sorry. I don't know why I'm looking at all these places. I'm like, I know where it is, but I'm going crazy. Revive all defeated Jedi allies. Not revive an ally. Revive all defeated Jedi allies. And so just with his Zeta, with just some random Jedi that he's with, Jedi Knight Revan is always great, but any random Jedi can just be a nightmare because, you know, the enemy goes against it or you're using it on attacking and you're like, oh no, all of my guys are dying off. Oh, Jolee gets a turn and they're all back. Let's keep going. So this can be a really cheesy and annoying, great, just singular Zeta. Any Jedi can plug in here, basically, just as long as you have that Jolee Zeta. Another honorable mention, CLS is actually fantastic without Zetas. I used to use it as a cleanup team back when I didn't have enough Zetas to give the team what they needed. And you can see I'm still missing some Zetas on this team. Fantastic team, even without the Zetas. If you are going to put a first Zeta on this team, I would suggest the Chewbacca's. Let's see what the name of it. Loyal Friend, just to get that guarded thing that allows you to start getting banner recovery on your guarded allies. As well as, you know, CLS's has some really good ones. But honestly, I used this team without. I was like gear 10 and I would clean up teams with it and, you know, take it against any crap team that was in like their back wall. Fantastic team. It's just a lot of Zetas overall, and so I don't want to just sit here and just suggest it because overall it has tons and tons of Zetas in the team. But if you have it lying around, you've done all the legendary events for it, solid team. This is another one I've heard about. I don't have it obviously with the Radis, but I've heard all you need is the Jyn Erso. Believe it's, yeah, this one. Jyn is immune to stun, all that kind of stuff. So real one ally is immune to buff immunity, Jyn is immune to stun. So I've heard that all you need is that plus Adrad. His Jyn Erso can't be defeated, and then if you can, you know, drop this one, but doesn't really need it. But yeah, just those two I think are all you need to get this to pop off, because it's a super cheese team. Basically, you have Jyn Erso who can't be defeated, and so they have to focus down Adrad, but the computer's not smart enough to do that, so a lot of times they'll get stuck behind Jyn Erso, and because she's the weakest ally, because they've been hammering her, they'll just keep hammering on her. And so you can take advantage of that bug, and a lot of people do. So it's 2 Zetas. I don't know the viability of this team very well because I haven't used it yet, but I have heard that's a good one. This is another one that, like, you know, it can be great, but, like, I don't know enough information about it, and it kind of falls apart later in the game because you start using these characters for a lot of other things. And so that's why it's in the honorable mention section instead of, like, a team choice itself. Just because it kind of falls apart as time goes on. But, you know, this is honestly all you kind of need for it, is the Newt Zeta, and then from there you can just slap people around. Basically, he keeps passing Extortion around. Extortion does all kinds of fun stuff, And then his Zeta is whenever a Separatist ally inflicts a debuff, they also deal 5% max health damage to that enemy, which can't be evaded, which is why I use him with my General Grievous team. And then we got one final one. This is another one I have in honorable mentions, mostly because I don't know much about the team personally, but I've heard great things about it. The big cheese with this team is Old Daka and Night Sister Zombie, who technically don't need any of their Zetas to get this to work. So, like, honestly, this is a fantastic team. I just don't have a ton of experience with it. I'm sure a lot of people in the comments will talk about how good this is. I just don't have a lot of experience with it, and so I didn't want to put it in my list because I wasn't sure what I was talking about with it. And so I wanted to just put it in honorable mentions. If there's any other ones that you guys can think of, I'd love to hear it in the comment section. Please throw out some more teams, because, you know, the more teams that we have that are, you know, low Zeta, the better that we're going to be doing as a community. So throw what you can in the comment section. If you have any ideas for low Zetas, we're looking like 1-2 Zetas or no Zetas at all. Fantastic teams. Thank you guys so much for watching. We did set a goal for by the end of January to get 2,500 subscribers as a community, and so make sure you like, comment, share, do whatever you can to get that subscriber goal. If you guys get that goal, I'm doing a Relic 9 of your guys' choice. So far in the lead is Bodhi Rook, and so it'll be a fun Relic 9 to do, I guess, but you know, I'm willing to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.